And I feel like us, like growing up like I grew up in the Midwest, I grew up in Illinois. So like being like put into that community where everyone's white and you're brown, like you kind of like subconsciously are like striving to be white and striving to be accepted.
Colorism. It is everywhere from movies, commercial ads, to your auntie telling you to stay inside or else you'll get dark. But what exactly is colorism? And how is that impacting the Asian American community today?
Any other East or Southeast Asian country has been obsessed with whiteness even before colonial times.
We have gathered 3 Asian American panelists to talk about their experience with colorism and how we can fight against our internalized oppression. Colorism is defined as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone.
Colorism is kind of a form of white supremacy and even like European imperialism.
I've always been seen as like the darker side of Filipino.
And like, yeah, that's like very similar to racism, but colorism is more specific to like a certain type of like ethnicity or demographic.
In relation to Asian history, skin color functioned as an indicator of socioeconomic status in Asia. If one had a darker skin complexion, then they were mostly identified as a laborer, which meant the rural poverty. If one had a lighter skin complexion, they were seen as more intelligent, more ethical, and morally superior.
Just with like Asians in general, like the darker our skin tone is, the more like we're kind of seen as like ugly or, you know, not exactly like mainstream beauty.
My dad, he is Chinese Vietnamese, so he's very much darker than me. So every time my dad will come pick me and my brother up, a lot of the other kids will make fun of him because he didn't look like his son and daughter, you know, he looked very different from us. But every time he like dealt with something like he didn't really want to face and he didn't really want to talk about until we got older.
Not only has colorism resulted in systemic racism in the United States, but even internationally.
한국 사회에서 한국 사람들이 흑인에 대해서 어떤 편견이나 선입견을 가지고 있는 것 같나요?
아프리카에서 왔다고 그렇게 생각을 주로 할 것 같고 아무래도 좀 놀리는 약간 그런 것들.
Everyone knows the infamous K-pop groups like BTS or Blackpink. We can also look at other groups like Twice or EXO. Pale skin propagates a pure image, which is how K-pop idols are marketed to fans. Meanwhile, darker skin is seen as more exotic, giving them this sexy and fierce image that companies can profit from. Darker-skinned K-pop idols like Kai from EXO and Mingyu from 17 have received more backlash domestically because of their natural tan. On the other hand, some idols are praised for having milky white skin.
As I see like my sister's in high school and like she's obsessed with K-pop too and all of her girlfriends are obsessed with K-pop, I can kind of see like how, like it's very small, but it's like they'll like stop themselves from going out into the sun and they'll be like, oh, I'm already too dark, like I'm just gonna stay out of the sun.
In the Philippines, many of the internalized oppression and favor over lighter skin are impacted by Western colonization. Intergenerational trauma has built the stigma that lighter skin is more beautiful. Commercials for skin whitening products are huge within the Philippines, as well as today, while businesses market off of that stigma.
I was always the darker Filipino sister, and they would kind of force me to use like guava, papaya soap to make my skin lighter. And they would always try to make me avoid going out. And I was a little ass kid, so I don't know, I would want to go out, but they wouldn't want me to get darker.
Bollywood, India's movie industry, casts predominantly light-skinned actors, many of whom also endorse skin lightening creams. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, Bollywood and crossover American actress, encountered backlash because she supported Black Lives Matter but has also campaigned for Fair and Lovely, a skin lightening cream sold in India since 1975.
There are a lot of theories out there that celebrities appear a lot fairer than they used to. And it's possible that it's because the industry demands so.
We can definitely see today that businesses and influencers are fighting against colorism. Like Sephora's We Belong to Something Beautiful campaign, or Asia Jackson promoting hashtag Maganda Muranex to support and show that representation of darker skin is not only beautiful, but is needed to improve and dismantle systemic racism. But if we're not business people or influencers, how can we continue this fight?
The industries that we did talk about, they're gonna realize that we have to be woke, we have to have more representation within this community. And then with accountability, you have to kind of vocalize, don't be don't suppress that feeling and keep it to yourself. I feel like you have to vocalize that by going to protest.
I guess be progressive in this situation. It is really just kind of raise awareness and just be aware of our privilege. We're dealing with, let's say, a grandparent or grandma who kind of has this old way of thinking, and you can play your part in the community by challenging their thinking. You know, I would say that would change your beliefs already by challenging their beliefs.
Once we start acknowledging like, oh, we have colorism, and then that leads to like, oh, we have internalized racism, or like internal like like all of these like issues, you know, all of these like prejudices. Once we acknowledge that and we like know why this is wrong, why this is important, and then like we can identify like, oh, how can we change? Like, how can we make a difference? Like, how can we decolonize like our mindset as we like try to set examples through like our mindsets or through our actions? Then like hopefully that wave will catch on and everyone will kind of learn to like get rid of those prejudices and biases.